Okay, great. Let's go.
Hi there, I'm Lisa Fitzpatrick and welcome to Powerful Spiritual and Feminine Leadership. Create a life and business by being yourself and doing what you love. And today I'm really thrilled to introduce Leonie Percy. I've been following Leonie's wonderful work for a while now. She is a loving mother, business mentor for mamas, mindful maven, and author of the international award-winning book Mother Om. And I do remember Leonie, welcome, by the way.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's so beautiful to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you. And I do remember you sharing a very vulnerable post about your journey on social media. Just for the listeners to know how I found your work, you were very honest and open and vulnerable about some deeply personal, heartfelt heartbreak that you'd experienced in your life. And I saw myself in your words, and I immediately warmed to your vulnerability. So Leonie is also the host of the Magnetic Mama podcast. She is a mentor for mums, teaching them how to find joy creating a business they love. Her mission is to keep families connected and teach mamas how to be magnetic and live the life they truly desire. Leonie combined her experience of going through a divorce, becoming a single mother, having a degree in psychology and her passion to keep families connected to create her business, Leonie Percy. And you can find that more about that at leoniepercy.com. Leonie lives in Brisbane with her son, Lael, and her lovely new hubby, Darko, and their daughter, Luna Joy. As the author of Mother Om, Leonie, your works are endorsed by the wonderful Sarah Napthali, who wrote Buddhism for Mothers, which really helped me a lot when I was struggling with little kids as well. And you're also endorsed by Maggie Dent, another fabulous parenting mentor that I happen to know and love also. So what a powerful bio, what powerful credentials you have. I'd love to know what inspired you to write Mother Om. Were you writing it for yourself as much as for the readers?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that there's a book in everybody. I think we all have an amazing story to share, and we all have a very unique story. And I didn't actually have this big intention to go and publish a book. I'd gone through a divorce, as I mentioned, and that was definitely the post I'd shared on social, was that that was such a difficult experience for me, and I still have wounds there, despite being remarried. And I have a 9-year-old son from my first marriage. I have a almost 3-year-old daughter, and I'm pregnant as well.
Congratulations!
Yay! So baby Phoenix flies in very naturally and organically. That's going to happen in August. So, life has moved on in a really beautiful way. But there was still, falling in love again after a divorce, I found really very difficult, because I'd been so heartbroken. And Mother Om really came out of a space where I was a single mum for 3 years, and I really struggled with motherhood. I found it very isolating, very lonely. It's a really great way of it just reflecting all your own stuff that you need to clear. And I really lost my path to joy. I lost my sense of happiness and joy. And really, it took me on a beautiful journey of, finding this joy and light and gratitude. And it was yoga and mindfulness that really helped me. I did a lot of yoga, and every time I did yoga, I'd cry and I'd see this light that I knew I wanted to follow. And the story really does have such a beautiful ending, because I did write a book, Mother Om, which came to me in a meditation. And at the time I was running a kids yoga business, and I had a whole team of teachers teaching a really beautiful program. And I really love that. And I think when you work with children, you know how they're just so present and they're so in the moment. And I really enjoyed sharing the gift of yoga with them. That was incredibly healing for me. And then I wrote Mother Om because I had a lot of mums coming to me saying, we'd like some guidance too. So Mother Om really talks about how to practice yoga and mindfulness, the philosophy of it, because we can't always get to yoga physically. Yes. How we can be more present with ourselves, and how we can cultivate more love and joy in our lives, but also how we can teach our children this as well, because I think that's really important, that we really are our child's greatest teachers, and they are ours as well. And actually really exciting in that the last couple of months I've been collaborating with a really good friend of mine who's an amazing artist who I really adore her work, and we're going to write a series of kids mindfulness books together. So waiting for years. I wrote Mother On 3 years ago, and I know I will write more books, and I've just been waiting for it to manifest.
Yes.
And my daughter Luna became best friends with this little girl Sailor. I mean, how cute is that? Oh. Luna and Sailor. And her mum and I just, we fell in love too. And she's an amazing artist, and we're very, very excited about this collaboration. So it's all happening.
That's exciting. And it sounds to me like you're really good at following your heart. Tell me about the battle between the heart and the head. But you sound to me like your heart is leading you with these amazing ideas and projects, and that you see them through till their end without giving up as well. Tell us about that.
Yes, the dance we do between our head and our heart, I think some profound monk, can't remember who, but I'll just take the credit, said it's the longest journey you'll ever take, this journey between the head and the heart. And it's a dance we do every moment of every day. You know, we can be very much in our head, and then something happens, there's a smell, there's a song, there's a moment, and it takes us back into our heart space. And I think the more we practice being in our heart, so there's practices like heart coherence, which is something I do regularly because the science of the heart is so powerful. It's more powerful than the brain. And cultivating a sense of love towards yourself so that you can give to others. There's, lots of really beautiful meditations that you can do to get you in your heart space, and recognizing when you are in your head, and recognizing the shadow archetypes and the ego mind that comes in, and being able to kind of let that go and go, well, what does my heart feel right now in this situation? And we all have situations where our head says one thing and our heart says another. And I think if we can cultivate more love towards ourselves, because we aren't particularly nice to ourselves, then it starts to happen quite naturally for you, and you really start to recognize patterns where you make choices that are based on love, not fear.
Interesting. And why do you think it is? It's something I notice in my coaching business, and I'm sure you can shed some light on this one, that often women who are waking up to the innate power of their heart and the power of their dreams and the power of their mission as well. We're all born with this. I believe we're all born with this mission, this destiny. And, but a lot of women really come up against a great fear of their own power. Can you shine some light on why you think so many women suffer from this fear of their own power, especially spiritual women?
Look, it's a deep wound of the sisterhood that I think we've carried for generations, that we're told to just, there's, wish for a present but don't tell anyone, or wish for something but don't vocalize it. There's this whole, like, when we bring up our kids, it's like we're really sort of unintentionally not really allowing them to step into their true self, and it's not done out of in a horrible way. It's just the society that we live in. And so I think our children are really born with these kind of big chakras and, amazing energy, but with consumerism and conformity, it just gets shut down. So it starts to happen when we're kids. It starts to happen when, how we're parented, and, we do start to really question who we are. We start to question why we're here. We start businesses because they bring us joy and we feel like it's our gift to the world. But I've had my business for 6 years, and I've had many moments where I've just gone, this is just, especially managing it with children, I've just gone, this is too hard. I'm totally just going to go work for someone else. And it hasn't happened that way. I've certainly been tempted. I've had offers to go and work for other people. And at the moment, I'm in a stage where my business is not really providing me with the income it did last year, because I'm 20 weeks pregnant. And I know that I've got a baby coming soon. So I can't go out there with full energy when I need to be a mindful mother and, look after my other 2 children. And so I've just had to fully surrender into that and say, this year, you need to focus on family, and your business will always be there.
Wow.
And interestingly, in this sort of time where I've had this downtime,
Yes.
I've worked a lot on my fears. I've
Yeah.
worked a lot on this idea of playing small, and not fully stepping into who we are. And it's been a really interesting journey, because I know that, you know, our lifetime, there's opportunity for us to evolve and change in every moment. So whether you're doing it now or you're doing it in 5 years, it doesn't matter. You're still awakening the planet.
Yes.
And I think as women, we go through cycles, and we go through cycles where we are full of energy and creativity, and we can go out and make things happen. And then we just need to rest for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I've noticed the creativity really flows when you're in the resting period.
Yes, that constant dance between rejuvenation and regeneration and creative output is such a fine balance for women, isn't it? Especially if we are playing a provider role for our families, as you said, and you have to tune within yourself to understand what it is that creates an authentic life for you. And I'm hearing that that's a very rich way of living life too, is being true to that impulse that either pushes us out in the world or brings us back in. But speak to me about that idea of creating, you know, richness and abundance, which doesn't necessarily have to be money, but the idea of creating a rich life and how you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, we want to earn money, we want to contribute, we want to have a real sense of success around what we do. And I think when we're not bringing in the money that we want, that we really struggle with that, and that contributes to staying small and not fully stepping into who we are, because we love to just give things away.
Yes.
Serve.
Yes.
And we kind of prostitute ourselves to others, and that's another kind of wound that women carry. Yes. But I think there's creativity in so many aspects of your life, and it doesn't have to be business. It could be cooking or dancing or, you know, weaving or anything that brings you joy. And if you monetize that, which is, you know, we all have so many unique gifts and talents, that's fantastic. And that's definitely something that I help my clients with. It's about the intersection between what you really love and what you're really, really good at, you know, and bringing those two together to build a really solid foundation so that you can monetize that eventually. And, you know, I know that collaborating with my friend who's an artist, and I want to get a publishing deal or I want to do crowdfunding, and I've got all these ideas of how I know I can make it work, but this could be something that takes a year. Yeah. And I know that with Mother Om, I wrote that every day for a year. I worked on that project. And it's not just something that you kind of magically create. Like, these things take time. I've waited for 3 years to find the right artist. Yeah. And I think trusting and allowing yourself to know that you can have these creative ideas and you can start to manifest them, and they will happen, but it may take time. And allowing yourself to not be, I guess, frustrated by that, you know, like we want things now, you know, we meet people online and we get married straight away and it's all very quick and instant. Yes. Sometimes these things take time. So being creative, it can be something that you are manifesting for a long time. Yes.
Yes, that's beautiful, because there's such an illusion about overnight success and these incredible results that are posted often online about women in their businesses creating these incredible incomes. But from my experience behind the scenes, a lot of that overnight success is a very flash in the pan or one hit wonder kind of experience for a lot of those women. They spend 5 years recovering from the burnout that, you know, that 1 year created. So I'm very passionate about this idea of us creating longevity and sustainability in our businesses. And what I'm hearing from you, Leonie, is that where you bridge the space between creation and perhaps earning abundance or the realization of the project is a real cultivation of trust and faith that you're on path. So when you're in the dark and you're doing this amazing creative work that you're doing and you're not even really sure of the outcome, how do you keep going? And do you ever feel like giving up?
Oh, I definitely have felt like giving up a few times. I think it's very natural for us, and I notice it very much in my son. My eldest son, he has ADHD. He just doesn't, ADHD is a very confusing diagnosis. He's very passionate about the things he's interested in, but then he has no interest in anything he's not interested in, and he can't hold his attention on that. And we've really struggled to find the things he loves, and he just wants to quit all the time. And it's kind of like we push him and we want him to succeed, but it's a battle. And I think we all struggle with this. We all struggle with this shiny new object syndrome, and we get really excited about something, and then it just gets really hard. And then we naturally just go, well, that didn't work out. I'll just go and do something else. And we don't persist with, I guess, our dreams and our creativity. We're very quick to just go, well, that didn't work for me. That launch wasn't good enough. I didn't get the outcomes. I'll just go and do something else. And when I work with clients, I'm like, we will focus on one thing, and we will nail that, and we will cultivate that to the best of our ability. And that's how I think you get long-term success and the longevity of doing something really, really well. And then you can start to create other things on top of that foundation. So I don't know if I've actually answered your question, but for me, it's very much about surrender, and it's very much about knowing that the outcome may be in 6 months, it may be in 12 months, but I don't have any attachment to that outcome, because it may or may not happen. And if I have an attachment to that, that's going to rob my happiness.
Yes. And
So
what I've heard there too is that this capacity for us to show up mindfully, fully in that present moment of creation is really one of the secrets to staying the course, because as you're saying, focusing on one project and doing it to the best of your ability is going to reduce this tendency that women have to have 5 or 6 different projects and not do any of them really that, consistently, so that that juggling act becomes quite overwhelming for women. So what would you say to that incredibly passionate and creative spiritual woman who knows that she's stepping into a leadership role, but she is juggling multiple projects and she's not sure which lane to choose? What would you say would be a good strategy for supporting that focus?
Oh, which one brings you the most joy?
The most joy, yeah.
The most joy. Because and it's also the project, I guess, that's deeply connected to your why. And people go, oh, we talk about why we do what we do, but it's deeply important to be very connected to why you're doing it, because otherwise you will quit. Otherwise it will just get too hard and you will go and do something else. Mm-hmm. When you're very, very deeply connected to why you're doing it, like mine is very clear. I went through a divorce. It was really difficult. I'm very passionate about helping mums find more joy, and my ultimate mission is to keep families connected, because so many families are blended now.
Yes.
And and that's absolutely beautiful and can be beautiful, but it also brings a lot of challenge and struggle.
Yes.
So it's about remaining a really strong connection with yourself, and then that can flow out to having a very strong connection with your children and your family and your community and ultimately your universe. So I really think that when I mentor clients, I'm like, what brings you the most joy? And why are you doing it? Like, what is that deep sense of getting up in the morning and being really driven by your why? Because that absolutely stops you quitting. And it's the difference between a business that lasts for 10, 20, 30 years, that evolves like massively over time, to one that, 80% of businesses start and don't even, they fail within their first year, because it is very challenging to run a business that is monetized and brings you joy, and you're not overwhelmed. And especially women who are managing so many other hats as well, with being sisters and daughters and wives and mothers. So women very much need to be very connected to their truth and their light for them to have the longevity that's required.
very much connected to their truth and their light. I love that. I know we were speaking earlier before the recording, and you were talking about this consistent reconnection to the light within you, and that beautiful sense that the practices that you bring into your everyday life are ones that, you know, bring you back to your light or your heart. What other spiritual tools do you use on a regular basis that support this nourishment of the soul and this capacity to fuel the source of why you're doing what you do?
Yeah, look, meditation, and people talk about meditation all the time, and it's sort of, I think, a bit of an overused concept of, like, you have to sit on a cushion and meditate for 30 minutes, and that's just not the reality at all in my life.
Yes.
And so for me, it's about having moments of connection throughout the day, like I'm in the shower, and that for me is a beautiful moment where I'm not with my kids and I can actually have really great creative ideas, you know, so that's somewhere. And also I associate that with, if I am feeling fearful, I will do EFT because I associate the taps with tapping, you know, so I'm kind of like, oh, if I'm, you know, in that moment, or I will definitely be committed to doing some sort of mindfulness practice. It could be drinking tea, it could be sitting outside in the sunshine and just feeling a deep sense of gratitude for my life and for all the blessings of the universe, and that I will bless everyone who I meet that day, and really feeling a deep sense of connection to everybody. I don't have to know people. I can go and sit in a cafe and feel this deep sense of oneness, and I don't need to know people. But I think that is incredibly powerful because you don't feel alone and you don't feel isolated. And you've got this amazing support, whether it's in your physical world, your 3D reality, or it's in your spirit world. So it's your goddesses, it's your guides, it's a group of sisters that you may connect with on a regular basis. I think feeling this absolute deep sense of love and support from the infinite, and also from your 3D world, is really, really important, because I think as women, we do feel isolated and alone, and we do feel like we're doing it on our own. Entrepreneurship is very lonely. Yeah. Motherhood is quite lonely at times. So having this deep sense of support, and again, trusting that you can't make a mistake. Yeah. You can go off your life path, you know, your plan is one thing and your path is different. Like, there was no baby on my vision board this year. That was like, I did not call in this child. My husband did, without question. And it's taken me quite a few months to surrender into that. Like, my business was going so well, yes. And then here comes another baby, and you kind of go, I wasn't in that space. So it's been a real process of surrender, to know that this is my path, and this is not my plan. And knowing that is you know, a real gift. So I think we just have to be very open to know that what is being presented to us is just exactly how it's meant to be, and just having radical acceptance. Like, when my son got diagnosed with ADHD, I was devastated, but I've known for years that he's, you know, different. So it was, again, it is what it is.
That's beautiful, because it's really discerning then between this idea of us willing something with, you know, our ego, and with these ideas of what the mind and the will want, and really consolidating that against the power of what destiny might hold and what the heart might actually have in store for us. And from my experience, there's a lot of suffering when we stick to our goals, and that's a very masculine thing, isn't it, to have these very strict outcomes that we must stick to, and life will often want us to have better than what we might have planned, right?
Yeah, I don't set goals at all. I set intentions.
You set intention.
I like the word intention, because we're manifesting all the time. You know, every thought we have, we're manifesting and creating our reality. And I've set goals in the past. Some of them have been really amazing goals, but then I reach that goal and I'm still left wanting more. And I'm like, that just, you know, I think setting goals just sets you up for more of a sense of failure, because you get the goal and you're kind of like, have this temporary happiness, but it's not long term.
Yes.
Because then you just make a bigger one.
Yes. Yes.
And I'd rather set intentions, because the energy around that, you're coming from a really different space. So my intention for this call is to, you know, enlighten women to be fierce, beautiful leaders in their own way.
Yes.
You know, I think intention and goals are quite different in the way we set them.
Yes.
We have so much attachment to our goals, whereas with the intentions, we let them be created very organically.
Yes.
And we don't have this big attachment. You know, it's like, oh, it may or may not come true, and if it does, that's amazing. But if it doesn't, that's okay. You know, like it just seems to have a much like we set New Year's resolutions and we don't keep them. You know, like we do this all the time. We're like, oh, I'm going to do like a 30-day cleanse.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know, purify myself. But then on day 31, we're back to coffee and wine and chocolate. And like, this is who we are as humans.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Physical experience for a lot of women. I love what you said earlier, Leonie, about this idea that a lot of solopreneurial women and women in this leadership role, they often speak about how terrified they are of being, you know, isolated in their businesses. Yeah. And your approach to this idea that we can really reduce the separation between ourselves and the support around us and other people by practicing this idea of oneness, or this idea of connection to all beings. How do you balance your online sort of world with your offline world in that way? Because I know a lot of women who are quite sensitive to energy are choosing to go online with their businesses because they're perhaps introverts. They like to hide a little, you know, be at home with their businesses, which is great. And yet really to connect to people and be in this offline presence and community is also important. Tell me a bit about how you balance those things in your life.
Yeah, you know, my business is online, absolutely. But I do, last year I was running events, bringing beautiful business women together, and we'd have a guest speaker, and they were amazing. And I do not underestimate the power of real life connection. I think it's way more powerful to go to lunches and some, you know, conferences, and, you know, there's so much out there now. To really connect deeply with people in real life. Like, that's an incredibly powerful tool for growth, and you create incredible partnerships and collaborations. So if you do like to just be at home behind your laptop, which there is a space for that too, I would really encourage you to make the effort to go out and be seen and articulate what you do and be really comfortable in that space. Online is amazing. I mean, we're having a beautiful conversation because of technology, and I've been on lots of global summits, and it's amazing to be able to send your message out into the world. So I think it's wonderful to have an online presence, but it's deeply as important to have an offline connection with people as well. And I also, when I first started my business, which was actually a yoga mamata, when I first started that, my personal life and my business were the same. So it was me doing yoga with my son, and the mother one was all very connected. But as I've grown and evolved as a spiritual leader, I've really wanted to separate the two. And my name is actually Leonie Laukkanen. That was my name, my married name. But I connected with my previous name, Leonie Percy, because that's my author name, my speaker name, my business name. And I really love the separation of the two. And I think when you get to that point in business, when you are a thought leader and possibly published a book and you've got that credibility, it is nice to separate the online and offline world with family and personal life, but also have a great online presence. So that's just been my journey with that. So yeah, it was a very natural decision for me when I got married to take my husband's name, but keep my past husband's name, because that was the path that I had to take to get to where I am today.
I love it. That's really wonderful advice, because it's healthy boundary setting between that interface. And I think some women feel very guilty if they're not revealing everything, you know, but we all know how much vulnerability connects us, but we still need to have these healthy boundaries between where we end and where our businesses begin. I'm a big believer in that, as my experience has grown too. So tell us a little bit about what you have in store for 2018, any exciting offerings, and where we can find out more about your work.
Yeah, look, this year has been a massive year of surrender and trust for me. I do mentor clients. I have some beautiful clients that, you know, they come and work with me for 3 or 6 months. I'm obviously having baby Phoenix in August, so I will be fully taking off the rest of the year from August. I'm not under any illusion that that's going to be, you know, a time where I really need to focus on family. Yeah. I wasn't so gracious with my daughter. I thought I would just keep going and run my business, and that was not the best idea. So I've learned from that experience. But really, I feel like I'm in a mode of creation at the moment. I'm so excited about this collaboration I have with my dear friend Alice, this artist. Yeah. I'm on a retreat in May in Bali with 40 like high vibing, powerful goddesses. I'm doing this 12-month spiritual mentorship program with Ricky Jane Adams this year. So this year for me has been about surrender and really focusing on personal development for myself. Mm-hmm. And I really feel we need to go through these cycles, because next year I have a whole plan to relaunch and have a lot of new offerings for my clients. So this is kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just enjoying being in the surrender and the creativity, and excited about what will come next year as a result of the fruits of my labor for this year.
Beautiful. Well, I'd like to thank you so much for being interviewed today. I've just had so many moments of realization through your words and advice. So thank you so much. And we can find out more about you at www.Leonie Percy, that's Leonie Percy, percy.com. And it's been an absolute joy to connect with you today, Leonie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Blessings. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that tuned in.